I spoke in my video about a memo that Charlie Kirk wrote 8 days before he was murdered. In the cease and desist letter, they say, indeed, Turning Point USA's COO announcement concerning the Doge effort never used the word audit. So this is
They're literally trying to sue this guy because he said Doge audit. Charlie Kirk wanted a Doge audit instead of what? A Doge effort. But Doge is effectively an auditing organization. So what are we doing here? We're suing a random YouTuber with 300,000 followers, TPUSA, Erika Kirk, because someone said Doge audit instead of Doge effort. Is this not the most insane thing you've ever seen? I mean, like, he literally put Charlie Kirk's own letter about the Doge effort in his video, but they're still suing him over, I guess threatening to sue him over this. I don't know how many of you have followed Wolves in Finance. He is an accountant that decided to start a YouTube show. He covers a lot of different topics, some political, some financial news. One thing he has really stuck his nose into, though, are the financials of TPUSA. And as you can see here, you know, these videos have gone pretty viral. 400,000 views on this one. At the top right, you can see here about Turning Point fraud, allegedly. You've got some other videos he's done. I've watched a few of his videos on the TPUSA mess. I mean, he's literally got... So he has this video, Hero, Charlie Kirk, like he's praising Charlie Kirk. And then the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk, he starts diving into this, missing $8.6 million. This video and TPUSA fraud videos, they cause a lot of controversy over at TPUSA because a lot of people feel as though through his very diligent reporting, utilizing his skills that he has attained as an accountant by trade, he was able to ask some pretty big questions as to the financials of TPUSA, missing tax documents, suspect, business locations that don't exist, so on and so forth. Now, keep in mind, he's got like 400,000 followers on YouTube. He's just an accountant that is looking into this stuff because, where there is a massive problem, where there is a lot of suspicion, where there is potential criminal involvement in the unaliving of Charlie Kirk and questions about this, all you got to do is follow the money, and you might just find out exactly what was going on behind the scenes. That's his way of looking at this. I happen to agree with that. TPUSA was an organization that brought in a lot of cash each and every year, now more than ever before. And they clearly feel very threatened over the fact that someone is diving into the financials and bringing up some pretty valid questions. As a result of that, TPUSA has sent him a cease and desist letter, not just Candace Owens. Now, the difference between this threat and Candace's legal threat is Candace, okay, she had a contract with TPUSA. That contract ended in early to mid-December. But her NDA, her non-disclosure agreement with TPUSA still is in effect for the next 12 months after the contract ends. Wolf in Finance has no contract with TPUSA. This guy is not, he's not liable in any way to the organization. He doesn't have to silence himself from making non-disparaging comments against TPUSA or officials within TPUSA. There's literally nothing holding him back from diving into what he believes are valid questions about the financials of the organization. Now, one thing that we discussed in the Candace Owens video is that, pretty much everything that they brought forward in the video has either like a non-issue, or it's something that they claim that they've cleared up, that Candace Owens made a disparaging comment, they cleared it up, but Candace Owens still is saying, bad things about TPUSA. Well, no, we know that the things they cleared up, they were clearing up questions that nobody asked. They were giving alibis for problems that didn't exist, right? And then the actual questions we're not getting answers to. It was so insane that one of the things in the Candace Owens lawsuit was allegedly Candace Owens said that there are bad people at TPUSA. She said that one of the bad people's Tyler Boyer. Other than that, they didn't specify who Candace Owens claimed was a bad person at TPUSA. They also claimed Candace Owens said that TPUSA was essentially, had like military infiltration. But if you look at Tyler Boyer from TPUSA, his own words on September 18th, right? This is what he actually said 8 days after the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. We do have a team. We can only do as much as police on campus will allow, and also working with the police or private security in a given venue. We run everything like a military op. All of our people are from that background. So TPUSA literally is admitting that the things that they are suing Candace Owens over potentially in the future are true. It's going to be a very tough lawsuit for them. I don't think discovery is going to benefit them. And let's now look through what this lawsuit against Wolves in Finance is all about, because just like the Candace Owens lawsuit, I personally think that the lawsuit threat, the cease and desist letter against Wolves in Finance, is also stupid and also is going to allow Wolves in Finance to hire really good attorneys who are going to be able to ask a lot of really probably damning questions to TPUSA executives and officials in sworn testimony that is not going to make them look good, okay? And discovery, of course, not going to be good. So let's go through the main points here.
So let us go through the statements where they have a problem. And you're going to want to hear this because some of these are wild. On November 16th, I posted a video called Bombshell, Did Turning Point USA Commit Fraud? They say these are false claims. Charlie Kirk ordered a Doge-style audit that was never conducted. Here's my first problem with this letter. They do not include the actual quote that I said in the video. This is a paraphrased statement of what I said, and they are saying that the paraphrased statement is a lie. You have to tell me exactly what I said that was supposedly a lie, and they do this through the whole letter. So my request to this lawyer in future letters, because I'm assuming there's going to be more, please include the actual quote that I said so that I can respond to your accusation. But I'm going to at least try to interpret what they are saying. I spoke in my video about a memo that Charlie Kirk wrote 8 days before he was murdered. In the cease and desist letter, they say, indeed, Turning Point USA's COO announcement concerning the Doge effort never used the word audit. So this is
They're literally trying to sue this guy because he said Doge audit. Charlie Kirk wanted a Doge audit instead of what? A Doge effort. But Doge is effectively an auditing organization. So what are we doing here? We're suing a random YouTuber with 300,000 followers, TPUSA, Erika Kirk, because someone said Doge audit instead of Doge effort. Is this not the most insane thing you've ever seen? I mean, like, he literally put Charlie Kirk's own letter about the Doge effort in his video, but they're still suing him over, I guess threatening to sue him over this.
Breaking news. Turning Point's attorney has now confirmed that the Charlie Kirk memo is authentic. We now have legal confirmation this did happen. It seems like their problem with my video is that I called it a Doge audit, when in the memo it is written as Doge effort. So they want everyone to use the word effort and not use the word audit. This letter is seriously hurting my head. Whatever word you use, the memo is clearly talking about an evaluation of Turning Point. But we cannot use the word audit, we have to call it an effort, or they are going to sue you. The letter goes on to say, the announcement makes clear that Turning Point USA was doing what it has always pledged to donors, ensuring it was being efficient with its funds and time and making changes to foster greater efficiencies. Moreover, Turning Point USA hires a third-party audit firm to conduct an audit every year. This is all just their opinion. This is how they are interpreting Charlie Kirk's memo. They think that Charlie Kirk wrote this memo, and they think it means that they do not have to do anything. How convenient. They think that Charlie Kirk wrote a memo just to tell people to keep doing business as usual. Well, my opinion, and the opinion of many other people, was that Charlie Kirk's memo meant something different. This is not a statement of fact, it is an opinion. This is another problem I have with this letter. Most of the statements they mention are opinions, just like this one. If you are going to accuse me of defamatory statements, they need to be facts, not opinions.
And they don't even have his specific quotes about what he said. They're just vague posting an illegal threat against this guy. Okay, here's point number 2.
Use the words Doge effort, not Doge audit. The next statement is, someone at Turning Point decided not to file 990 forms. At the time I made that video, those forms were not publicly posted. Those forms were posted after I made that video, and I've...
So the second point in this is that it's actually true. They're basically admitting it. They're saying that, yeah, well, we didn't publicly post the tax forms, the appropriate 990 tax forms, but we posted it after the fact. This guy, Wolves in Finance's podcast, he literally corrected that once they posted. Once they did post the 990 forms, he came out and made a video saying, oh, they've updated it. They have posted the 990 forms now publicly. They hadn't done that prior. So second point, I mean, it's like agreement, right? But again, they're threatening to sue him over this, which begs the question, if the first 2 points are this stupid, why are they threatening to sue him? Same as Candace, they want to shut him up. He's getting too close to the truth. Let's see, claim 3.
Turning Point USA through Turning Point Action to statement is publicly posted. Those forms were posted after I made that video, and I have already made a correction about that. The next statement is, in 2023, $650,000 may have been funneled from Turning Point USA through Turning Point Action to Turning Point PAC to evade campaign finance restrictions. They are referencing this chart from my video. They claim money actually went from Turning Point Action to Turning Point USA as a reimbursement for event expense. There was nothing nefarious about that transfer. I'm not sure they are contradicting what I am saying. According to their own statement, Turning Point USA used their own donor funds to pay for an event on behalf of Turning Point Action, freeing up Turning Point Action funds, which they then transferred to Turning Point PAC. They are saying that later, Turning Point Action reimbursed Turning Point USA for that event. But that doesn't change what I was saying. Additionally, in my video, I specifically said, again, this is not necessarily illegal if they structure their transactions correctly and utilize campaign finance loopholes, but it certainly looks unethical. That is my opinion. This money did move between the organizations. I'm allowed to have my opinion.
So not only are we getting just sheer stupidity, right? Missing exactly what this guy is saying in his show, which has done an incredible job diving into all these financial records of TPUSA. They're actually now confirming his suspicions about where the money was being funneled through, right? $650,000. No small amount of money, right? And they're saying, yes, we did do that, but it wasn't, nothing bad happened, right? We reimbursed it. It was for event expenses. Totally everything is kosher, right? We didn't actually fully know that that is exactly what happened. It was just a suspicion that this guy was investigating, and it turned out to be true. They confirmed it in the letter. Again, why do this? Why do these legal threats? Because they're just making themselves look worse. They are, in my eyes, drawing more questions about potential criminal wrongdoing within their organization. I say potential, I say alleged, I say these things because Jackson doesn't want to get sued either, but let's be real here. Apparently, you don't have to even say anything wrong. You don't have to say anything defamatory to get sued. Nowadays, you can, this is just the dumbest thing ever. If he's so wrong, just come out and say he's wrong. Just prove him wrong. But they're sending him a legal threat and not really correcting him on anything, just to try and shut him up, because they can't debunk what he's saying, because it is true, as they are admitting.
On November 30th, I posted a video called Explosive, More Fraud at Turning Point USA. They say these are false claims. There was more fraud at Turning Point USA. I assume they are referring to the title of the video here. They, of course, are saying that there is no fraud at Turning Point USA. The content of the video is me going over the evidence of fraud and sharing my opinion. Now, technically, a true statement would be that no one has been convicted of fraud at Turning Point USA, but whether fraud is going on right now is an opinion. This is what happens in every criminal court case. Both sides look at the facts. One side gives their opinion that they are innocent. The other side gives their opinion that they are guilty. Turning Point is looking at the financials and claiming that they are innocent. I understand that. I'm looking at the same financials and thinking they look suspicious. I did not even say in my video that they committed fraud. I think I'm very fair and balanced when I say, now for legal reasons, I have to say that I do not have any evidence of a crime. We would need an investigation of the books at Turning Point to know for sure. What I am saying is that there are red flags in the financials at Turning Point and a lot of questions that need to be answered. That sounds to me to be pretty fair and balanced, and the complete opposite of what they are accusing me of saying. They cannot take my statements out of context and accuse me of defamation. I have the right, as a journalist, to report on Turning Point's financials. Their opinion that they have not committed fraud is just an opinion. My opinion is that it looks suspicious. Now, it is nice that we have this letter with their official statements, but the letter does nothing to change my suspicions. It does not address most of my questions. Instead of answering my questions, it is the precursor to a lawsuit unless I change my statements.
So yeah, now their TPUSA is asking him to come out and publicly denounce everything that he was asking questions about, all these suspicions, all the red flags. They're coming out and saying, you have to issue a video statement retracting everything, if you can believe that. Didn't debunk him at all. Basically confirmed some of the things that he was reporting, but without any evidence. They said, but actually, yes, it was true that we transferred the funds, we did this, we did that. But all of it was completely legal, nothing wrong. Again, they don't actually give any evidence to back that claim up. They just want you to believe that, right? Which again begs the question, why be so silly? Why be so, risky, Why do that? Why threaten to sue someone? If you're going to sue someone, everything that you may or may not be hiding is going to be aired out to the public. Okay? And I think if you were to go through like the financial records of, I don't even know, maybe like 80% of American corporations or nonprofit organizations, if you went through every single financial record over years and years, you could probably find something in there that maybe isn't up to code, up to tax code, right? I don't know. That's just my guess, right? I don't have a nonprofit, but I would guess that that is probably an accurate statement if you were to go through with a fine-tooth comb and look through everything, right? So why open yourself up to that is the question. I guess the answer would be that they don't actually intend to follow through with a lawsuit, and they're just trying to shut this guy up because he is asking the appropriate questions, and he is on the right trail to something much bigger than TPUSA is letting us all on to believe. So time will tell. We'll see what happens. But wow, this is crazy development. Not just a lawsuit threat against Candace Owens, but now also against YouTubers, accountants with 400,000 followers, 300,000 followers, who are just looking into the publicly available financials that TPUSA has provided. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.